possibility that Will Levis could be out on Saturday against South Carolina. He has an injury that is minor, but is an injury, and it's not long-term an issue. As a matter of fact, I think it's 100% certain he'll play the next week, but he might miss this week. If he does, Shannon, the quarterback from Somerset, will start in his first ever college game. He apparently has beaten out Deuce Hogan for the backup, so he will be the starter. But it'll be a game-time decision. I think Levis is still going to try to go. Ryan and I did a Twitter space last night. I said I think it's more likely than not he does not play. You thought he would try to play, but we will see. I think it's up in the air. But obviously, if he doesn't play, that makes things a lot more difficult Saturday against South Carolina. What I do think is interesting, Ryan, is how all this developed yesterday, which I think is really a testament to modern college football, modern media, modern everything. So it started to kind of get around in the afternoon. I heard this happen like right after the show. And apparently, this is something that nobody knew for a long time but I guess yesterday he would have normally practiced and he was not.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me is how this thing came out. So I heard, and it always puts us in a tough spot because it's newsworthy.
Oh, absolutely, it's newsworthy.
But we want Kentucky to win, and there's a part that you want. Man, maybe they could go into it, and South Carolina wouldn't know, right? But so I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to wait and see. I had already planned that I was going to come on the radio and say, there might be an injury, but we'll wait and see and then not say what it was. But then, so this is what I understand happened. I now have sources in Vegas through my ESPN stuff.
Not in Lexington or Kentucky. This is Vegas.
This is No, it is Vegas. Yeah. This is not Lexington. This is Vegas stuff. Because there's this gambling underworld I have to talk to as part of my ESPN things. And there is apparently a gambling syndicate, a group of sort of big money gamblers who there's a service that they subscribe to that apparently costs a lot of money where they can find out injury news that doesn't get to the general public.
Okay.
So that I assume so that they can take advantage of it.
Sure, 100%.
And apparently it is it must be legit because in the afternoon they put out this information. Now I'm not subscribed to it, so I didn't hear it from them. But when that went out, I know one or two people that are, and they wrote me and said, "Hey, Matt, this is being said." Now at that point, I already knew about it, but I was like, "How could they know that?"
Yes.
And know it quick.
Well, practice, I think, was still going on.
Shannon, it's unbelievable to think how that would get out,
I have no idea, but I guess people talk, and those are people that get it.
Practice is still going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Well, I think when that happens, it starts to there starts to be whispers online. It shows up. I do some Twitter searches of Will's name, and you're starting to see a couple people go, "Was Will Levis out?" ? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the Bear, Chris Fallica, who's the guy on game day who picks the games with them.
Bald guy,
and he has that board, and he puts the bear paws or whatever. He was on a Twitter space. That's where all the news is now, Shannon, on Twitter space.
I've never done one, never been a part of one.
Well, you got to come. We got Ryan sort of figured out how to do one last night. Yeah. It was a painful process, but he was able to do it. But on the Twitter space, he said it. And I think he said he was out. So when that happened, then the message board starts having, and I said at that point, well, it's going to be, if it's out, it's going to be really out. So let's clear it up. Because the thing was that he was not playing.
Right.
Which I don't think is correct. So that's when I said that it was still up in the air, but he is potentially out. So it does make you wonder how they know this stuff. Now, doesn't it? And by the way, the line moved 4.5 points from when the Bear said it to when I put the tweet out, which was probably a half an hour. In that half an hour, The line went from South Carolina 10.5 to Kentucky 10.5 to Kentucky 6 in a half an hour.
That's a lot of money.
And that was really before everyone knew. I mean, it was getting out, but I mean, Shannon, that had to be. And then when I put my tweet out, they took it off the board.
Yeah, that's what was kind of crazy last night when you looked it up and it was gone.
They took it off the board. You couldn't even bet on it. Now it's back up this morning and it's Kentucky by 6.
Okay.
But are you, so what do you make of all this?
Well, like I said last night in the Twitter space, I knew nothing of it till you called me, said, hey, this is what I'm hearing. Had no idea. But then, like I said, bad news travels fast. You get people to contact us, hey, Levis did not practice today. Hey, Levis may not play, and this is what it is. And, you know, he had treatment at halftime of the Ole Miss game on this, whatever, you know, this said injury. So, I don't know, man. Like I said last night, he's such a tough kid. He's got all this spotlight on him. You know, Mel Kiper, I think today said he was maybe the number 1 pick. I think he'll tough it out and at least try to play. I
think he'd like to.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a view of, look, man, we need him.
Yeah.
For the long term. And besides Vandy, if you're going to play an SEC game without him, you'd probably pick this one.
You're right
at home.
Yeah.
Against South Carolina.
He must have re-aggravated something in practice because, I mean, he finished the game against Ole Miss, didn't really show any sign of injury. So it makes me think.
He was limping around a little bit, you know, there towards the end.
Yeah, but I mean, he
did have 2
played.
fumbles.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I know what you're saying, Shannon.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's what it is. I don't, you know, I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I'm just guessing. But
we got that bye week coming up. We have these 2 crucial home games back to back.
And you got to have him for Mississippi State.
Yeah.
It's hard to see us winning against them without a healthy Levis. And that might be part of the thought process, right? Like, you got to have him for that one.
So the question is, can you beat South Carolina with an 80% Will Levis, or do you need to go to
Well, let me ask you
Tyra?
this. Can you beat South Carolina with KSR?
Can I say what I said last night, or was it too mean?
Well, it's not mean. You were trying to be funny. Shannon, I'll let you decide if he's funny. Okay.
Okay.
I've already heard this joke, so I'll let you decide. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he did look real impressive against Pulaski Southwestern and Pulaski County last year, and you know, Danville and LCA, man, he looked great, and he's undefeated over here at Kroger Field.
All right. So, Shannon, was that a good joke?
Well, I'm not laughing, so I guess it wasn't.
I think, honestly, though, I think that's in the delivery.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was
I need to work on the delivery.
I think there was a good joke in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it came out correctly.
Yeah.
I think what you say is, I'm not worried about it. Last year, crushed Pulaski Southwest.
Much better.
You see what I'm saying? It's just the way you say
much
it.
Better. Much better.
Shannon, don't you agree? It's all about how, because there was something in there.
Yeah.
But then he gave 4 teams. That was too many.
Yeah.
You got to pick one team and pick the one that sounds the funniest.
Okay.
And Pulaski Southwestern sounds the funniest.
You could have 2 different people tell the same joke, and you're right. It is about how you deliver that joke.
Yeah. Okay, let me try it one more time.
Yeah, okay. Let's try.
Okay, let's see if he gets it this time, Shannon.
All right, here we go.
You know, his last pass he threw at Kroger Field was for a game-winning touchdown. I think he'll do the same against South Carolina.
Well, that's not really a joke, the way you structured it.
That's a stat.
That's just a statement.
Oh, okay. So I need to kind of work on the delivery and on making it more of a joke and not a statement.
But, I mean, that was a statement that I think worked okay, but just so you know, that jokes need punchlines.
Gotcha. I'll work on it and come back with another one tomorrow.
Shannon, we're going to work with. He's going to get this. That's right. Before this is over, he's going to have it. I think they can still win without him. I mean, they're still a favorite. I think he can still, but I think it's a different thing at that point. Like, then you're back to, like, you're running the ball a lot. Here's the difference. This is why I still feel
Welcome to Bell County.
Like they can do it, which is, in years past, we didn't have the dude that you could just flick the ball to and he breaks it.
Now we do.
We do. We got 3 of them.
3 guys.
You got 3 guys, and you got at least 1 guy, maybe 2 if you count Barryon, but certainly with Dane, that you can throw it up and he can go get it.
Right.
So those are things that our quarterbacks in the past have not had that. They haven't had, Terry Wilson and Steven Johnson did not have the advantage to be able to do that. If Terry Wilson had 1 guy that he could throw it up to and would go and get it, that would have made a huge difference.
You're right.
But he didn't have that. Now, Kaya is not as mobile as Terry, But I just think about Terry if he had Dane Key on the team. How big a deal. Remember when we had the kid that all he did was get penalties?
Ahmad Wagner.
But he was effective for us.
Yeah.
Even though, because they throw it up there. Now imagine if we had a dude they could do that and he'd catch it. You know?
Yeah.
So I do think that they can still win. I think they're still the favorite even with Kaya. But, of course, this huge unknown because even though Ryan's joke didn't totally hit Shannon, his point about the last time he's played real games is in high school is true.
Yeah, he's got one college snap at the end of the Youngstown game the other night. You mentioned the point about the running game. It's good you got a guy like Chris Rodriguez you can handle the ball to, but we're going to go in with probably a new right tackle, right?
DeAndre Buford is likely to play at right tackle.
In place of
Jeremy
Flax.
If Flax doesn't play. Now, I have not heard whether he's playing. I just know Buford's been playing that during practice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough call for Kaya to make this jump from high school football and your first college start is an SEC game at home against South Carolina. I mean, that's a big jump. We know he's talented. We know he's going to be a good quarterback down the road. Is he ready right now? That's the question.
Don't you wonder, Shannon, how they knew about this gambling syndicate?
Before all of us here in Lexington knew it, they already knew it, man.
Well, I knew it.
I didn't. You know, and I bet a lot of the media people, I don't think nobody knew it.
Vegas knows everything, though.
I didn't know it enough to, here's how, somebody sent me, this is the text machine. People send me stuff. The text machine has been the best thing that's ever. People always say, Matt, you get all your info from Dwayne Peavy, Vince, whatever. Hey, 75% of it comes from the text machine now.
Yeah.
Because what happens is it's collective intelligence. Somebody knows, and people know they can send it on that, and it's anonymous. Now, you have to be careful because some people send stuff trying to mess with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, that's why you can't believe everything you see.
Yeah.
But this was a dude who had told me something in the past that was correct.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, well.
So you kind of believe him.
Again, I don't know who it is. It's just a phone number. But it was a phone number that I looked back and it said something true in the past. So.
But you're right. This gambling underworld that got news of this injury way before it got out.
Absolutely amazing that happens. 502-571-1080. We'll take a break. We're here at KS Bar and Grill. Ryan's still working on his joke. I'll tell you what, when we come back, Shannon, we'll see if he gets a better version.
Okay.
Third time's a charm, right? He's going to get it.
I
We'll
got
be
it.
right back.
I got it.
KSR.
To talk to Matt Jones.